Hello, friends, and welcome back to my channel here at True Reality Life, where we talk about the true realities of the life around us, beautiful, ugly, and everything in between. My name is Amber, your mental health and wellness podcast host, and I'm doing another Blurnal video journal because I just got done with therapy. So I got extremely lucky, and both of my daughters went down for a nap at the same time, and I expected my baby to have woken up sooner because they've both been down to sleep probably a little over 2 hours now. Because the first hour I recorded a podcast, and the second hour I did my therapy. So now they're still both asleep by some miracle. So I thought I would hop on here and do a video journal to just decompress all that I just processed in therapy, which was a lot. And I wanted to come outside to try to just relax my nervous system a little bit because it got really heavy. I didn't expect it to get that heavy, where I had initially been talking about my husband going on a work trip and my anxieties about that because I've been lied to about previous work trips from one of my past relationships. So a lot of anxiety came up about that. I thought I would be digging more into emotions having to do with that said relationship in the past, and it kind of took a very different route than I expected. We ended up doing like reparenting and childhood trauma that I didn't realize that I had because my therapist was kind of talking through these points of like focus as I was speaking and telling all of my anxieties, and came up about my jealousy because I value quality time, which is my love language. That was one of the podcasts that I videoed today about love languages. So if you want to go watch that one. But my love language is quality time. So whenever my husband is spending quality time with other people, I get very jealous. And I want that for myself. I want my love tank to be filled up with quality time from him. She was also noting how I have a big issue of like self trust and blaming myself for putting myself in situations. And it basically came down to like, if somebody were to hurt me, I end up blaming myself, saying, well, I put myself in that situation. Well, I stayed with this person and allowed myself to be hurt. Well, he showed me signs at the beginning and I just ignored them. So it made me feel naive if I were to stay. I had to kind of process like accepting that being vulnerable with people and giving people the benefit of the doubt is part of who I am as a person. And I try to give people opportunities to grow. Even if I don't see that at the moment, I think that I'm just giving in because it's easier to stay, when realistically, in perspective, it's not easier to stay. But I always beat myself up thinking, oh, I let them manipulate me. I let them take advantage of me by staying. When really it's trusting myself and learning to navigate those hard situations, whether I've been lied to or deceived or anything like that, which is my biggest pet peeve in life. We were kind of doing the trauma response of where this came from. Where did I get this feeling of blaming myself for somebody else hurting me or for being hurt in general? And it was so crazy to think about that it was from like childhood of not being given the opportunity to experience things for myself. That if you tell a kid, hey, don't jump off the couch, you're going to get hurt, and they do it, you would think they learned the first time, oh, I fell off the couch and I got hurt. And then they climb off the couch again. And if they get hurt and they come to you, like, well, I told you not to do that. I told you you were going to get hurt. That's on you now. You chose not to listen. And I realize a lot of people are parented that way. And that's how I was parented, but that's how people were taught to parent at that time. Right. And so we discovered that that's kind of where I learned to blame myself. That right? You can give yourself the benefit of the doubt like one time, but if it happens again, like you put yourself in that situation, you knew better than that and you still chose to be with them or to do something that could potentially hurt you, right? Like staying in a relationship that somebody lied. So you staying comes across, well, I took it as being naive of, oh, well, you knew you were going to get hurt. You knew they lied before. Why would you think it's going to be any different this time? And blaming myself. When in reality, like for my girls, I make sure to like let them try things for themselves. If they jump off the couch a million times and hurt themselves every single time, the time that they jump off and learn how to land or discover their limitations, they feel proud of themselves. And you have to let them discover their own boundaries, right? And I was never allowed to do that. I was never allowed to explore my own boundaries. I was never allowed to test the limits. It was just, that's unsafe. Don't do that, period. Right. And even if that meant discipline or whatever to avoid getting hurt, yes, from a parent's perspective, that you're protecting your children. I get it. I get that perspective. But at the same time, that's not preparing them for the life ahead because you can't avoid hurt in life. That's part of life. So allowing people and children to learn to navigate through the hurt and learning to trust themselves through the hurt is a beautiful thing. And so I'm trying to navigate that within myself, is allowing myself to explore and determine my boundaries, determine my limitations, and trusting that if I get to a situation where I might be lied to or hurt, that I can trust that I will overcome that and I will make it through it. And I will know what is too much for me to handle in those moments. But in the here and now, I'm allowing my children to explore, but I'm also allowing my partner to learn and grow, to make mistakes, to lie, to not allowing him to lie, but like forgiving him for not being perfect, forgiving him for being human, that we're all trying to do our best and learn and grow from our mistakes, but you have to allow them to make mistakes. And I'm sorry for all the background noise, but I really needed to be outside for this. So it was just a lot. It was a lot to process today. Forgiving myself and recognizing the beauty that I have to forgive people and to support people, even if they hurt me, to still trust people, even at the risk of being hurt, because it's allowing them to be human. It's learning my boundaries and my limitations more, right? It's not naive of me, it's forgiving and it's empathetic. And that's something that I do love about myself because I would not be willing to sacrifice that part of myself and be a stone wall and cut people off, because then that limits your ability for connection with other people. And I love how open I am to people and how forgiving and empathetic I am. So the possibility of being hurt is worth it to me. And that's something I have to embrace and appreciate rather than beat myself up for being naive or blame myself whenever I am hurt. Because hurt is inevitable in life. It's just a matter of learning how to navigate it and learning to trust yourself in the process, discovering your own boundaries. So I really hope that my processing might, I don't know, relate to you in some way today, to forgive yourself, to not beat yourself up for being in a situation or putting yourself in a situation where you got hurt or could potentially get hurt, to embrace that you are kind and you are loving and you are empathetic. And yes, that can be hurtful sometimes, but that's what it takes to be selfless, and it can be very rewarding too. Thank you guys for being here, and your support means everything to me. I appreciate being able to share my video journal so openly with you all without your judgment and love and all of the good things that come along with this. So if this could touch just one person today, that makes it worth it. Thank you. Love you guys. Bye.